ways. We've increased funding for researchers in Manitoba. We're about to roll out an ad campaign to try and recruit more Americans who are feeling disillusioned or even losing their immigration status. But at the same time, job number one we were elected on was to fix healthcare. One of the other big priorities that we see is on public safety and helping on the social issues. So we're moving things forward in a lot of different ways. And I would just say that repairing some of the challenges we saw under the previous government doesn't happen overnight, but we're doing it. And I appreciate these researchers raising this issue because it's one that I support. But again, within the context of trying to make investments to Trump-proof our economy and fix our healthcare, we're just trying to execute a balancing act.
So that was Premier Wab Kinew in our interview on April 11th. Well, Michael Benarroch is with us next to talk about his perspective on all of this. He's president and vice chancellor at the University of Manitoba, and he recently actually wrote an op-ed about this in the Winnipeg Free Press. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what are your initial thoughts on, the Premier asking U.S. researchers to come to Manitoba? And then if you want to slide right into it, we've just heard how he's defending that, they're trying to spend on a whole bunch of things. You're competing with healthcare dollars here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want researchers to want to choose Manitoba. We want researchers to see Manitoba as a destination for them. And in order to have that happen, we want to be able to support those researchers. We want to have the labs to support them. We want to have the research infrastructure, and we want to have the finances to be able to support them. And the second part of that is we want to support graduate students, because a lot of research is done by graduate students. And I think right now we're challenged in Manitoba to be able to do this. You presented the numbers. This is not a situation that this government created. This has been created through cuts from past governments and probably past governments not paying enough attention to research. And so we have a bit of work to do here in Manitoba to be able to build the resources and the financial support that's necessary. Our province lags behind all other provinces in support of research. And so this is a challenge. I would say that in my conversations with this government, they recognize the importance of research. They recognize that this is a challenge. And I think they've, in hearing the Premier's comments, certainly this is what they've focused on. They focused on healthcare, they focused on safety. And around healthcare, we've been a part of that solution. They've invested heavily in the training of healthcare professionals in Manitoba. I would say around Trump-proofing the economy, research is part of that solution, because it's through research that we lead to innovation. It's through research that we educate highly trained and highly skilled people. And those innovations and those highly skilled people will drive new economic growth within the province of Manitoba, will drive the development of products which will meet global needs and will be able to lead to economic growth, employment with here in the province. So I think we and the research enterprise is part of Trump-proofing our economy.
You write actually in your op-ed that, quote, studies show that for every dollar invested in research in Manitoba, $4 are returned to the economy, end quote. But you also write that without a plan, the province risks missing a rare opportunity to lead. Because a lot of this argument conversation so far has been about funding. But what are you talking about in terms of an opportunity to lead, and what might be needed in terms of a plan?
Yeah, and I think that, and that's correct. Funding is one part of it, but we really need a provincial strategy to determine where research funding should be focused on, how we bring industry, how we bring research institutes outside of universities together with universities and with government to focus our researchers to best meet the needs of Manitoba. And that would help us all be able to plan moving forward. We have some sectors in Manitoba, medical research, biomedical research, agriculture, engineering, Arctic areas that we have expertise on and are a big part of our economy. And so we know that resources are limited, and that's part of what the Premier was saying in that comment. And so bringing everybody together to develop a research strategy of how Manitoba is going to invest in research and the areas that we're going to become world leaders in, I think is critical at this time.
And how would allowing U.S. researchers to do their work here impact that at this time? Like, do you see them, because you don't sound like you're against having researchers come in, but is the timing off?
No, I don't. I mean, I think it's a great time because of the situation, right? The situation has created this time, and we need to take advantage of it. And we're already beginning to see some of this. Maybe not from the U.S., but for example, we received a large grant from the federal government that's going to require some provincial matching to build what's called a prairie biologics accelerator, where early level clinical trials are going to be done. And as part of that, we're going to build a level 3 containment lab on in our medical school campus. Having those two facilities has already allowed us to attract a Canadian academic from Eastern Canada who needs those labs to do his work. And he's coming now to Manitoba and to the University of Manitoba. It's going to allow us to do 90% of the tests for our medical research that we used to either have to go often to Saskatchewan or other places to do this work. That work will now be done in Manitoba. So I think this is a great time to attract researchers. It's a great time to help build the capacity at the University of Manitoba and the province of Manitoba.
Where does Manitoba rank nationally when it comes to provincial funding for research?
Unfortunately, this is a place we rank last in provincial funding on a per capita basis.
Was that, just to interject here, were we still last even before the previous government made those cuts?
No, but we were near the bottom. We were not last, though, before the government made those cuts. But with those cuts, we did move to last. And again, it's not a situation necessarily created by this government, and I understand that they have a lot of pressures on them. But the situation in the United States, the opportunities that this presents, and potentially a federal government that's looking to also attract talent and to drive innovation and productivity in Canada. There's a real great opportunity for all the stars to align here if our province and our can get behind this to make a significant impact here in the province of Manitoba.
What have you heard from the province about this issue directly?
I've heard support. I think they understand it. I think they're trying to find the resources. I hope they're trying to find the resources to put behind this. $100,000 is not going to do it. It's less than most of our research grants that our faculty members in engineering and science and medicine are getting. But I think they understand it. I think they do have this. I do think this is a new issue which has come on their table since the election. It was not something that got a lot of attention during the election. And I think they're trying to figure out how to be able to incorporate this into the strategy moving forward.
So specifically, what are you hoping to see and hear from the province next? If it is a funding increase, how much? And if it is getting together on a strategy, how soon?
So I think there's a few pieces. I would love us to have a table to begin to talk about a research strategy for Manitoba. And I would hope that the University of Manitoba and our post-secondaries would be a part of that. I think we have to restore funding to Research Manitoba, at least back to the levels of where it was in 2016. And I would like to see the matching funds for the Prairie Biologics Accelerator be announced. And then the final part, we're working internally to try to find resources to bring academics to our university who might find this as an opportunity to be leaving another country. And I would love both the federal government and the province to be a part of that strategy so that we can support our graduate students, so that we can bring the best talent to Manitoba.
And just last, how much is the matching fund for the labs that you're talking about, that work?
It's $16.8 million. So to put that in context, right, that's already bigger than the entire Research Manitoba budget. So I understand that that's a big number and a challenge. But if we're going to situate ourselves in Manitoba to be a leader, if we want other provinces to work with us and we want researchers from around the world, the Prairie Biologics Accelerator and the Level 3 containment labs, those can be used by industry. Those can be used by other researchers. It's like the Churchill Marine Observatory, right? global researchers are coming there to work with Manitoba. It's bringing attention to Manitoba. Ambassadors from all over the world, and especially Northern Europe, are going to visit our Churchill Marine Observatory. It's bringing attention to our province. And I think these are the kinds of things we need to continue to grow Manitoba and, in fact, to Trump-proof our economy.
Michael Benarroch, thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.